It's upcoming. There's two different live streams that are happening. One at 11:15 and one at 11:15. So if anybody's watching, I don't know how they're doing it.
On YouTube?
Shadow we could. Yeah, it's showing as upcoming for both. Let me see. Nope, we're live.
Yeah, one of them's live.
Alrighty. Yep. And
All
that's
right, we're up here.
all right. Well, I don't know if anybody's watching, but it's exciting to be on with you, Ben. What are we talking about today?
So Gemini 3.0 just got dropped this morning. So I'm super excited to just kind of do some live reactions here because this is the one that I think everybody was most excited about throughout the year. There's been a lot of models dropped. GPT-5 was dropped. GPT 5.1 was dropped last week. And then yesterday, Grok 4.1 was unexpectedly dropped as well. But the one that everybody's been looking forward to is this Gemini 3.0. And so, I wanted to do a live stream as soon as it came out and literally just do some live reactions. And then I brought my brother Josh in here to basically talk about some workflows that you do as well. Nano Banana is the Gemini image model that was released earlier this year, and Nano Banana 2 is supposed to be coming out later this week. We weren't sure if it was going to come out today with the Gemini 3.0 drop or if it's going to come out later in the week. It doesn't look that like it's live right now. So I'm not sure that it will be something we can go over in this call, but Josh uses Nano Banana a lot. We talk about AI in our workflows all the time. Josh is one of the only people that work the same way that I do. I feel like we can just work at 100 miles an hour just between different AI models and jumping between tabs. And so wanted to bring Josh in to kind of talk about his workflows, specifically with Nano Banana, because you're in the YouTube space. You create a lot of images and videos and things like that. And you're using AI constantly for all of that. And so there'll be a point later in the video that we can talk about that. But right now, I think what I want to do is we can kind of just screen share the article that was released. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen.
While you're going through that, quick question for you since you have the expertise. What is the big things that came out with Grok over the past week? I haven't watched all of your videos. So what's the deal with Grok 4.1 coming out, and how does that kind of compare as we're going into Gemini 3? Obviously, you don't know what's with Gemini 3 yet.
Yeah,
what are the big updates?
Obviously, I haven't been able to compare Gemini 3 with Grok 4.1. I haven't really been able to compare Grok 4.1 to Grok 4 a whole lot. I messed with it some last night. It was super unexpected. I was waiting for Gemini 3 to drop yesterday, and then I just opened my phone and Grok 4.1 was released. And so I use Grok for research. So Twitter X is like the #1 source of news globally, pretty much for anybody, because YouTube, you've got to go in and make a video unless somebody's doing a live like this, and then articles people have to write. But like Twitter, people are literally just dropping in the tweets and in their X feed just really fast one-liners about stuff that's happening. And so usually X is the fastest way to get live news, whether it be for technology and software like this or for like real life news around the globe. And so X is the #1 place that I go to for like live news, which is why I use Grok usually for news, things like that. Because Grok is the only AI model that has access to the entire X feed. And so Grok 4.1 was released yesterday. And when I started to use it, the #1 thing that I noticed is that it researches and responds faster. Whereas you had Grok 4, which would take, oh my God, like 2 minutes to respond. You would ask it a simple question and it would feel like it had to think through the world and just go explore the entire internet just to respond about something simple. And then they came out with Grok 4 Fast, which was better. And it was definitely a little bit faster, but if for some reason it had to research for everything. So if I just asked, a simple question, it would still try to go on the internet and research for me just to come up with an answer, which there are some benefits to that, but I didn't like how long it took. So Grok 4.1, to me, the biggest benefit I'm seeing right now is that it can kind of distinguish if it needs to research or if it just needs to respond, because oftentimes it knows the answer. And so that's the #1 thing that I feel like I was seeing with Grok 4.1 was that it's just faster, it responds faster. Now it's supposed to be better conversationally. I'm sure there are other things that are going to be better about it. And then of course, Elon Musk comes out and says that it's the best model in the entire world. That everybody says, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and then Google, they'll all say that their model is the best once it comes out. So the best is subjective depending on who you are and what you use it for, which is why we wanted to jump in here and talk about how Josh uses it for a more creative workflow, how I use it for more of a developer and an engineer workflow, and then how we both might use it for simple workflows that everybody has, like writing and content posting on LinkedIn or things like that, because every workflow is going to be different and every model is going to respond different. So the best is really going to be subjective.
Yeah, it might have been the best for about 17 minutes before they changed like 2 lines of code on another version of it. So yeah, I'm jumping in between every single one consistently. I'm using them for different applications. I'm frustrated by the quality of one, the precision of one, the time of one. So understanding all of them is kind of delightful. So all you, man.
Yeah.
Throw us in.
100%, man. All right. So you can see my screen here, right?
Perfect. Yes, I can.
All right, so new era of intelligence with Gemini 3. I haven't read this yet. This is the first time that I'm looking at it. And the number one thing I wanted to go through, which I'm glad they dropped this, because earlier when we set up this live stream, they had released it in Google's AI Studio. So it wasn't live in the Gemini app. They only dropped the Gemini 3 Pro preview here, but they didn't have an article released. And thankfully, they dropped this literally just a few minutes ago, right before we went live. And so I just kind of wanted to go through and see, like, what are they saying is different about Gemini 3 from Gemini 2 or Gemini 2.5. And so the first thing that we'll kind of talk about is just this article and how they break it down. So introducing Gemini 3, our most intelligent model that helps you bring any idea to life. And this is what I think for you, you might be watching, you might be technical, you might not be technical, you might just be a business owner or an employee at a company and you just want to increase your workflow or be more efficient. When people start saying, a model that helps you bring any idea to life, usually like that's going to mean something different for everybody, but I want it to mean something for everybody. And so any idea could be writing content, writing a blog article, could be coming up with better images or websites or anything, right? And so as opposed to just brainstorming, we want AI models to come out that are just more effective for actually creating things that you want to create. So today we're taking another big step in the path towards AGI and the releasing Gemini 3. It's the best model in the world for multimodal understanding and our most powerful agentic and vibe coding model yet, right? And so this is going to be important for a lot of my technical audience. I use it for coding all the time. I usually use various different models, but I'm excited to see how Gemini 3, because when Gemini 2 came out for coding and 2.5, it was insane, right? It was one of the best models for coding, especially when you come into really complex problems. So we'll dive into that a little bit more, but it's all built around this new acronym SOTA, right? State-of-the-art reasoning. So you'll see that a lot, the SOTA reasoning. We're beginning in the Gemini 3 era by releasing Gemini 3 Pro in preview, which means it might not be available to everybody if you just log into the Gemini app, right? They might not have it on the free tier. You might have to go into the Gemini Studio, which is just aistudio.google.com. And you could set up an account and use it and test it out probably pretty affordably, because at that point, you're just using the token cost, how much it costs to use the API. And so, you can test that out if you want to, but we're going to do that here. And they're releasing it in preview, making it available today across a suite of Google products so that you can use it in your daily life. Okay, so it might be released in the Gemini app later on today. Our enhanced reasoning model that pushes Gemini 3 performance even further and giving access to safety testers before making it available to the Google AI Ultra subscribers. So they've got some videos. We'll probably watch through a couple of these. Josh, let me just go ahead and full screen this. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but we can kind of, let me do this. I'm going to reshare my screen.
Yeah, do it as a tab.
Yeah. Let me share just that tab and I'll share the audio. And you let me know if you can hear the audio, Josh.
Multimodal since the beginning. Our Gemini 1 models could...
Can you hear it?
Yeah, throw that full screen.
Oh, perfect.
Gemini has been multimodal since the beginning. Our Gemini 1 models could see, hear, understand vast amounts of information, and natively generate across modalities. Gemini 2 took the next step with advanced reasoning, enabling AI agents to think, code, and take action. We're taking all of this to the next level with Gemini 3. Gemini 3 is the strongest model in the world for multimodality and reasoning. It's our most intelligent model that helps you bring any idea to life. Starting today, we're rolling out Gemini 3 in our products so you can experience it for yourself. In Google Search, Gemini 3 enables new kinds of generative user interfaces. It codes interactive simulations like this one, custom built for your search. In the Gemini app, you can use the vast range of Gemini 3 capabilities for all kinds of tasks. You could supercharge how you learn, create, plan, take action, analyze complex videos, and more. You could start building with Gemini 3 Pro, available in the API today. We're even introducing a new platform, Google Anti-Gravity. It's our vision of software development at the frontier of model intelligence. It lets you use Gemini 3's agentic coding capabilities to accelerate how you build. The rollout of our Gemini 3 series will continue in coming weeks. We'll be introducing models with new features across different modalities and more model sizes. This is just the beginning of our Gemini 3 series. It's another critical step on the road towards making AI more intelligent and personal for you. Learn more about how you can try Gemini 3 at deepmind.google/Gemini.
Awesome. Okay, I'm
That's
pretty
well.
excited to look at anti-gravity and some of these other, like Gemini 3 as a model itself is going to be pretty cool, but what really matters is like how is it going to change the way that we interact with it in these different apps, like for instance for image generation or for building websites or things like that. And so I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to do for that. Obviously, there's going to be all kinds of benchmarks here. This benchmark was leaked earlier today. I didn't know how reliable it was, so I didn't want to comment on it. But now that it's from actually Google, this is cool. So Humanity's Last Exam is a big benchmark test that most of the AI models go through. GPT 5.1 was the latest model from OpenAI last week, and they only got a 26%, but Gemini 3 is already pushing 37 and 45% on the benchmark. So that's a big increase. This doesn't mean anything to a lot of people. Benchmarks to me, I take them very lightly because you could score really high on a benchmark, but really not be very fun to interact with as an AI model. So it just depends on what you use it for. But in general, seeing how far we're coming with these benchmarks is a positive thing, and we just keep the models that come out, they keep getting better and better at these different benchmarks and the tests and the exams. And so what that means is you're getting more intelligent as an individual. So if you have a human that can test higher and higher scores on different exams and things like that, that's a good thing. Now, I made a video about this talking about the difference between you could be extremely high IQ, but have an extremely low EQ, and you might not be fun to interact with. You're super smart and you can solve really big problems, but in everyday interaction, your social skills aren't really strong. And so what we're seeing is most of these models increasing both in their IQ and their EQ. And so I'm hoping that Gemini kind of took that into play as well. Gemini or GPT 5.1 definitely took the EQ to another level. And so that's what I'm wanting to see more of, is not just a smarter model, but a model that also is comfortable to experience.
Do you think it's really interesting that they're starting to try and quantify the EQ, IQ intelligence with the AI models? Because it's forcing us to like quantify that as a metric, because we've been doing that in corporate world, but now we're doing it for the intelligence models of, yes, it can get you fact, data, info, et cetera, but how easy is it to interface? And so like their quality, actually measuring that is interesting. And then I'm wondering how many of these benchmarks affect speed for like denser projects. Like if you have a bigger task for it to do, how long will that take? And I don't know how much that like plays into it.
Right. Yeah, not 100% sure. Okay, so let's watch this one as well. No audio here, but shader inspired by Plasma. In a word, write a written word piece. Mission sequence of chambers. All right, I'm not going to finish that. I don't know what that was.
You know what it did is it asked it to use public information on like like the actual data for what these sounds would sound like, nuclear fission, and it created, I'm pretty sure, a visual representation and an audible representation through the code, if I'm not
Interesting.
mistaken. So it's like, I
Yeah.
have a science project, I need to illustrate this thing that I'm studying, take public data. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah, the code
actually is
visualization.
cool. Yeah, for like this is where you when you're doing science projects, math projects, history projects, anything like that, especially for things that I don't really understand, being able to use
Yeah,
AI to make a more creative way to portray that, either for me to understand it better, or for me, like if I'm doing a class project or a company project, being able to use AI to put things together in a way that portrays the information in an interesting and different way, creative way, can be pretty cool. So I
yes.
definitely like using AI for stuff like that. All right, we're going to skip some of these benchmarks. Gemini 3 helps you learn, build, and plan anything. Um, they've got some screenshots here where people are taking pictures of things. Translate and transcribe these recipes in Korean and English. Obviously, multilingual, like being able to take other languages and put it into something is
Oh,
pretty cool.
sick. And it took the recipe
Yeah.
book in its entirety, and it was like, let's illustrate it out, and that gets complex. Oh, cool. And turn it into two different recipe books. So like if it's Christmas time, hey,
Yeah, yeah,
we have
yeah.
two different, like for you with your family with being like a lot of them being Spanish speakers, it's like, hey, let's do something. I don't want to do this twice. Can we create a bilingual website for them to be able to like explore the agenda for our week for all of our cousins and aunts and just quickly pop that
Oh,
up?
yeah. So
That's
he
pretty dope.
dropped Korean and English toggles here, but this is really just a website with some cool
Yeah.
animations to be able to toggle between pages. And so this is where code starts
Yep.
to come into play for non-technicals, where you don't need to look at the code. You just want to be able to talk about what you want in Vision, and then it turn it into that. And so they're talking basically here, if you have a bunch of recipes in different
Handwritten.
languages from your family, yeah, you can make a family
That's cool.
cookbook in some sort of digital format. And so we actually did this. My
Yeah.
wife and I made a cookbook app so that you could, do something similar to this. But I like that it made it very simple, multilingual, especially for people that, I mean, my wife and I have come from Hispanic families, and neither one of us speak Spanish. And so, I could definitely see stuff like this coming into play for a lot of people. All
I
right,
bet
so
this will
tell
be
me.
a little bit better than how I was planning to use it, but I've been working on a project similar to this, not language wise, but like taking pictures of all the objects and stuff inside of a studio that's been unorganized and asking it to do like, hey, we're going to create a catalog, do research on what its original value is, the quantity, the quality, and then find what its marketplace value is now. And don't do that until we've taken all the pictures and I ask for that execution at the end. Because they're literally taking pictures of a book and asking it to put it together. Like asking
Yep.
it to create an Excel spreadsheet afterwards would be sick.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a big deal. Up to this point, I'm sure that they have had them, but I have not been able to use video
Mm.
in prompts. Basically, you've been able to use
Oh,
text,
wow.
images, files, Excel spreadsheets, PDFs, all kinds of stuff. Up to this point, I've not really been able to drop an MP4 in and it actually understand what the video is doing. So I don't know if
That's cool.
it's my assumption is what it's doing is a video is just a bunch of images laid back to back. So 24 frames per second, 60 frames per second. You just have a bunch of images, frames that's being played back to
Contextually.
back. My assumption is that the AI models are basically able to take the MP4 file and take each image and understand what's happening in each image. Now, the ability to do that would be incredible, right? So if
Yeah.
that's what's happening here, to be able to just upload, basically in this video or this little example, it's showing a pickleball video of some friends playing pickleball, and it just says analyze this video, act as a certified pickleball coach, watch this, the doubles, and provide some technical feedback, and then it just writes a document on here's some coaching feedback. This
That's
would
cool.
be awesome because I do video stuff all the time, especially for like YouTube videos, right? If I took
Yeah.
a YouTube video and I could upload it and say, hey, give me feedback on, my communication, the hook, the intro, things like that. That would be a big deal, especially for like screen shares. If you're actually taking a screen share and you record it and copy it and throw it into Gemini 3 and ask for the feedback, or ask it to analyze, and tell me what I'm doing wrong and trying to set something up on my computer. There's all kinds of use cases where this could come into play. So the fact that we're moving towards more video format as a multimodal AI model, that would be awesome. So I'm excited to test that out.
There's something interesting depending on how the API works. If you're able to plug this into like a third-party app and have it record or take screen recordings from external apps, like this gives like a huge amount of potential to be able to like scan something you're doing or a video you're editing. It can scan each frame because that's just like how heavy it is, and then give you video editing descriptions and suggestions based off of that. Like take the audio, take the transcript, take the video, and say, we'll put it in this section or fix this thing for next time. Like we're getting closer to like some of the features that need to be there for AI live video editing, and that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's actually a big one.
All right, let me take a look here.
Build anything. I saw a little bit about this. I threw the entire website into chat and asked it to tell me what's interesting or important to talk about around it. Gemini was confusing, but chat seemed to keep it simple just because it knows what I do.
Yeah.
For the build anything section specifically, this part's really cool.
All right. Yeah, the build anything here, I think this is where it's going to start to affect most people. So building on the success of 2.5 Pro, which was one of the better models when it comes to coding, more intelligent models. I wouldn't say better models. I usually use Claude 4.5 or, GPT-5, now GPT 5.1 for, most of my coding, and then I would actually use the Grok code model as well. But 2.5 was really smart when it came to like really complex problem solving in code. So I'm excited to see what Gemini 3 brings to the table. So it delivers on the promise of bringing any idea to life for developers, right? So non-technicals, this might not affect you as much until you start to play with tools like Lovable, Bolt, these other, vibe coding platforms. Once they start to integrate Gemini 3 into that obviously help you guys out. It's exceptional at zero-shot generation and handles complex prompts and instructions to render richer and more interactive UI. So front end is a big deal. A lot of these coding models are really good at back end. They're not great at front end. So the fact that we're testing this out, code a retro 3D spaceship game, it's able to make this game and so zero shot. What that means is you didn't have to do a lot of iteration. You just typed in what you wanted. The first time it was able to get it right. And so, creating a polished video game, here's all of the prompt, right? It's a pretty lengthy prompt that they put in here. And then it's able to make this game. Another example would be bring your imagination to life by building, deconstructing, and remixing detailed 3D voxel art using code. Interesting. Voxel art. I don't even know what voxel art is. Showing eagles sitting on a branch. It's kind of got that Minecraft style, but it's basically, I assume voxel style is where like all of the cubes come together to make some type of shape.
And it might be like responsive as well. That's actually really complicated that it's able to do that. Because like on a technicality, you can go infinite with voxel. And as I was talking with some of my buddies who do a lot of like picture to 3D images, some of the issues they run into is the amount of polygons that are used are too complicated to actually use for a game. So it adds extra steps, which I think is a complication. But like being able, like you could make any game in a voxel style as a base and use that like simplistic art style to make, oh my God, like this game right here. This is so cool.
Yeah, that's insane.
We're getting closer to like, here's an HR task where the boss needs to be like the bad guy in the game for everybody to like get together and annoyed about something. It's like, well, let's do like a team building exercise where everybody has to like burn the boss down like he's a witch or something. Like just silly, interesting contextual projects where somebody like can come in as a vibe coder and work with HR to do something fun really easily like this. Because there is that easy layer to make some pretty beautiful stuff. This is wild.
Yeah. I mean, when you start talking about like, especially video games, up to this point, I think a lot of people were really skeptical that AI was ever going to have a place in video games. But now we're actually getting to the point where it's pretty believable that both film and video games, AI is going to have a big space in making entire feature films and entire video games over the next 5 years. So, we're getting to the point now where you can create in a single prompt, like a usable video game. So imagine iteration process, better developers that are able to go through and iterate on these things. So video games, feature films, things like that. I think that AI is going to have a tremendous they're just going to get better and better over the next few years. Introducing a new agent, first development experience. Okay, flight tracker app. Let's watch this one.
I'm going to use anti-gravity to build a flight tracking app, give it a flight number, return some data. After prompting, the agent goes out, does some research, and puts together an implementation plan. I like how this looks, so the agent's going to go out and now implement its work. After it's done with the implementation, it'll actually open up the Chrome browser and use the browser itself to test that it works. As it does the work, it takes screenshots that I can leave comments on. Just a few improvements here, and I actually want to do a little bit of design exploration. The agent will take that feedback and in this case use Nano Banana to actually generate some options of what this output could look like. This one looks pretty clean. So I'm going to go tell the agent to use this one as part of its output. The agent will once again go out, take that feedback, implement the work, and test using the browser. The output looks a lot better. At the end, the agent will put together a walkthrough. Think of it like a report, which shows all of its work, including a browser recording of the final output to prove to the user that it's done its work.
Holy smokes, anti-gravity. So I think this is a competitor to tools like Cursor,
Yeah.
and so Cursor, Lovable, Bolt, all these AI coding platforms. It looks like anti-gravity is probably coming, into the mix as a new IDE is what it's called. So I'm excited to see what that does for the development experience. But the fact that it can literally have Nano Banana built in to create some options for what it could look like, and then you select one and it can build exactly the image that it designed for itself.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And it looks like it's doing layers. It's not just giving you like a conceptualized generated image. It's giving you the UX layers to be able to do your animations on screen. Because I've seen multiple things that are UX pages. And if it does that, that means it could do other things for just normal like motion graphic stuff, which is a big limitation right now. You get flat images when you do most image generation, not layered pieces that you can actually work on.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's wild.
All right. All right, building Gemini 3 responsibly, the next era of Gemini. For everyone in the Gemini app, the Google AI Pro and Ultra subscribers in AI mode and search. This is just the start. As of today, Gemini 3 starts rolling out for everyone in the Gemini app. Okay, so everybody's going to have access to it. Developers are going to have AI Studio and the API access to it. And then for enterprise and for Text AI. So Gemini 3, collection introducing Gemini 3.
Crazy.
Gemini models, Gemini app. Interesting. So if I go to Gemini, yep, create, write code, the canvas, try now, 2.5 Pro. So I don't have it in the app yet. It's probably going to be coming later today. It's probably doing a slow rollout in the Gemini app. I do have it in the AI Studio. So I could just select this model and I could just say something like create a UI of a flight tracker for my
Share
flights.
that screen. I want to see what you're doing. Make me a UI for a budget tracker for my content creation.
Yeah.
And YouTube.
Create the UI for my budget. Create the UI
I want
for
to
a flight
be able to
tracker.
about the value of a guest's cost and their audience reach compared to my budget and quality of the writing. Let's see what happens. Run.
Comprehensive UI design for modern flight tracking app. Design wireframes. I don't know if I have access to the canvas inside of AI
like the canvas
Studio.
view.
Yeah,
I am seeing
so
like a little bit.
Canvas is what I'll need.
Yeah, I've never used tokens or this page before, so this is going to slowly like make our father proud that I'm joining the vibe coding crew. I know that one. That's /HTML. Yeah, that one I know.
Yeah, 3,100 tokens. So it's basically just giving me a plan right now. So to actually test out building it and showing it in.
Yeah, how would you plug that? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Mine's writing the code.
Well, I've got code
Tracking.
snippets here too. But
Right.
to actually be able to see the code, so I've got JSX here, which is React code. To actually be able to see this code in a user interface.
Oh, geez. Mine
I would
used
have to actually see it.
5,000 tokens out of the. Oh, I've got like 1,000,000 tokens. We're good.
Hey, let's switch over for now. Why don't you talk about Nano Banana for a bit? I'm going to see
Yeah.
if this is available in Cursor, because then I could actually see what a user interface would look like. So swap
Well, why
over.
not?
Talk through Nano Banana, how you use it in Photoshop, because obviously the integration in Photoshop was a big deal. And so just kind of maybe talk through how you use it and what you're looking forward to. Like if they were to make some changes, what you would want to see in the Nano Banana 2 model.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'll, if you want to stop sharing your screen, I'll start kind of high level. So Nano Banana, it's one of many models. And I've been enjoying hearing different people's perspectives about what's the point of each model. Because there's a point to ChatGPT's model, to even to using Sora sometimes. I've used for image generation for stills, using a little bit of Grok and their weird random like multi-optional feature. I think that's been really cool. But Nano Banana is the fastest model that I've seen to get changes to a real space or to a real idea, to get precise, like what you're thinking onto a canvas as quickly as possible. And I'll share my screen and see what happens. We'll find out what you guys see here in a minute. Whoop, I'm like blocking my share screen button by my camera. Let's see. And here's my screen. We'll do a window, Chrome tab. We'll do Gemini. Let's see if I can actually find it. So if I'm here in Nano Banana and I could, like a lot of people will go straight into just like, make me a YouTube thumbnail of a younger, middle-aged white dude in a hoodie in the style of Mr. Beast. Talking about the new Gemini 3.0. And he's going to bring on a guest and be freaked out by the features. And I usually like to do, you can do the create, I think it's tools, create, no, not a video, tools, and let me see, is it create? Yeah, there we go. This, and if I go, it's pretty quick. That's like the biggest point of using Nano Banana, I think, for anything right now, is how fast you can get this thing to load through. Like, let's say if I use ChatGPT, which I'll show you here in a minute, like, boom, 3.0 seconds. There it is. I like this base, but let's make it less techy and more focused on AI changing nature into money. Remove the alien and make it a person's silhouette, and you'll see a lot of bad spelling here, with a golden money question mark in the middle of him. So you give it specific instruction and it does really well, unless you forget to say create image, and then it doesn't want to do any of that at all. Oh, no, let's see. Generating image. Yeah, there you go. And that's a little bit closer to something that I'm imagining we're going to talk about. And I don't love the format that it makes it, but if you go in here, copy image, and if I stop sharing, let me see, share. Let's see if I can share screen. I'm going to do entire screen, and we're going to do screen 2. And I'm going to pop over to Photoshop. You got a thumbnail I'm working on right now. So if I go to like 1920 by 1080, I take this image in here, boom, you get your little Nano Banana thing here. The biggest part of the creative process in my mind is iterations and ideas becoming really confusing. This looks very Mr. Beast. But if I want it to be my brother, I just need a picture of my brother kind of doing the same thing, which he sent me over a pretty good picture earlier. And I can take him. Let's see if I can just copy this frame, put him over here. and I have the basis to start my image. And if we want to just illustrate super quickly, like, oh, how would you make this not suck? I just expand it. Generative fill. And I'm going to do nano banana. No, I'm just going to do the normal Firefly. Generate. To just kind of get the basis for the idea started. I think is a lot of what Gemini is extremely useful for. What's fun about that, though, is you can do dramatic styles, you can do simpler styles. I've done stuff where I've taken Nano Banana and taken somebody's face and put them into someone else and start to blend a lot of those pieces. I'll use it for the start of an idea. Like for this, obviously there's a lot of things going on here. And now this dude has 6 fingers, as he should, which is wonderful and terrifying, as AI still does not like fingers, but it's not too hard to go in and remove that. Most of the creative output process is fatigue and finding references. That's one side where Nano Banana starts to get really, really nice, is you can start your idea and then build off of it and create something really, really easily. Even if you don't have something, like even if I just take his face and select it now, and I want to, no, I just want his face. I want to do that instead. And now I've got him here. And then you want to make it look a little bit closer to that. You can really get to where you want to go quickly by having a referenced image. But you can even go across in certain tools like this and say, like now that Nano Banana is plugged in, if I select the whole thing, I can go to generative fill at the top, and I can select the Nano Banana engine and say, remove all the arrows and the second screen and blend his face and remove the 6th finger. Let's see what happens. You get a lot of flexibility by just communicating your ideas to the frame. We'll see if it actually works here in a minute, because sometimes it'll just do none of that. And we get baby-faced Ben for some reason. Some of the things got removed, some of the things didn't, because I gave it too much instruction on this specific iteration, but it got us close. So I'm going to put this guy back up here because he looks psychotic like that. And then you would do a lot of that manually, which I might or might not here in a second. So like that's like broadly, Nano Banana into Photoshop is really easy now. Like people have been using it with their select brush tool to like paint over an area, if I can find that in here. Like they'll paint over this area or paint around this and say add a snake. So your ideas can come alive a lot easier. The biggest thing I've seen, as you can tell with this, it looks like AI. You can see like text that looks weird. It doesn't really matter for a social media post or for a thumbnail, but I think the best way to use it is to remove some of these sections and re-add them manually, which isn't that tough. You take out the text. You might take out a couple of like the really excessive amounts of random money or random blue chips. I don't know what those blue chips are. And you start to build on top of it so that it has an integration of your art with these other things. So like if I take this guy, that looks kind of real, and then I use the new, I think it's, I think I just hit the blend button again. I'm blocking it. You can really easily get closer to an image quality that you want. Now, another part that is fun out of Nano Banana and just using Gemini together is if I go back over here to Gemini and I say, I have like 30 different posts I need to make about each specific feature that goes into Gemini 3.0. Can you reference the blog post and then look up the top 100 videos around AI view-wise and write me a loose content calendar to talk about these ideas and simple prompts to make those pieces into images as YouTube thumbnails. Let's see what happens. I prefer doing this kind of thing in ChatGPT just because it's a little bit more familiar with the voice, but the more you use a model, the more it becomes familiar with what you're looking for and how you're pulling it out. And again, back and forth. And if I pulled like this image I made here in Photoshop, and I put that into ChatGPT and I said, re-render it, but just clean it up and clean up all the faces, it starts to look a little bit more real. Like you run it through multiple engines, you clean up edges and frames. which I might show here in just a minute. But let's see if our content calendar looks like anything. Boom. We're going to do the hype future, Gemini, thumbnail beast. Here's a prompt for it. Agents, long text, multi-model, GUI, AGI path. And it's giving me a lot of that listed out in a really easy to use as a next step way. And then if you want to do everything in AI and be kind of basic, you can just take this and throw it into the engine and say, generate that image and generate that image and generate that image, which is a good first step. And it makes it a little bit easier to get your entire content calendar put together. Now that they're doing more video models, I think it'll be easier to say, reference this video that's working, create the background. Now give me a script to talk and make it in a green screen so that I can put it on that background that's performing well. The more easy that those tools to connect to one another are, I think the easier it'll be to make that kind of content. I could go on forever because it gave me this whole thing. What is that, 30 posts, all the way to aesthetic videos and new viral aesthetic videos and how to make them high dopamine aesthetics, how to make sure that you're dopamine maxed and have no ability to have any serotonin regulation by using AI. So you just kind of can keep going with different ideas. So that's a little bit of how I'm using Nano Banana on a high level. I could go on forever, but let me throw it back to you, Ben.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. I was just messing with Cursor. So they released the Gemini 3.0 model in Cursor. And so Cursor is another coding platform, and usually you have to wait until the API comes out. Then you have to wait until some of these actual coding platforms add the API in, but they have it. The problem is it's friggin' slow, you know? And so like the fact that it's super smart and can one-shot anything doesn't mean that it's going to do it very fast. And so literally I'm over here trying to build something for you guys, and it's taken forever. It's doing a ton of thinking, a ton of, you know, processing everything out. Do nothing with the database. So I may not even be able to do it live, but I want to see if it's in the Gemini app yet. Let's switch over to a paid account. Because they don't really have it. So I'm not going to be able to test this live right here the way that it is. However, we do have some videos that we can look at, right, Josh?
Let's do it. Yeah, I think there was a couple on the that I sent on the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want me to pull it up, or do you want to pull it up?
No, let me pull it up right here. I just got to pull.
Beautiful.
Boom. Let's do chat. All right.
Let me know when that's live. There we go.
All right, I've got it here. So let me full screen this. So this is an example where they were basically making some kind of chessboard app, bring anything to life. What website is he on?
What is that?
Bring anything to life. Gemini sees the code, blah, 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 blah.
I bet you could ask Gemini.
Yeah, I don't see a way to get access to this little app, but he basically is dropping a picture. So he turned a picture into a usable app. And so it literally just had a picture of this chess game, and now it's an actual playable game. So that's like an example of the ability to literally see something visually and create. But it looks like this might be a Gemini feature. Preview code.
Yeah, it's in AI Studio.
Oh, AI Studio. Yeah, apps. Got it. Let me see if I have that. Build.
Let's see, apps. Build. Yep.
Gemini 3.
Preview. I'm feeling lucky.
Yeah, let me share this. Yep. All right, so we've got AI Preview here. Create a budget app for two people to manage finances together. Yeah, okay. So we can preview the code here.
Very cool.
So again, Gemini 3 is super smart. It could take a long time to actually build this. So these videos are cool because they show you the end product really quickly, but when we're actually doing it live, it might take friggin' forever.
Yep. One of the things I really like for some of these models is like, I don't always know how to give a good prompt, but if I ask it to make it, and then I say, can you remake this whole thing into a prompt? It always gives me a better prompt.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
which is pretty fun.
A tip on using AI for prompting or creating prompts is literally feeding it the context of best practices. So I'll usually use Grok or Perplexity to say, go out and search the internet for best practices for writing prompts for this specific model about this specific topic. And it'll go out and get all of those articles on the internet. There's a lot of stuff out there that would be really helpful for it. And then instead of you having to understand it fully, you just make sure the model understands it fully. And then you say, okay, now create a prompt for me to accomplish whatever task, whatever you're trying to do or build a prompt for. And then it'll make a higher quality prompt, especially for things like images or videos. Every model is going to want prompts to be done a specific way. So that's how I usually do it. So
all
it's
right, I'm building mine in the
something
background
here.
too. Yeah, mine's been thinking for 35. Ooh, it is. It's making a whole thing. Oh, it's like building out the folder structures. I know it can do this. I've never seen this happen in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is what it looks like for us as engineers to actually use AI to code. All it's doing is it's creating new files and writing code. And this is all the architecture here of like, what type of, it's all TypeScript here.
Nice.
And so it's basically creating your application here with little files and writing out the code. But then in preview, all you care about is the end product, right? So if you're not a developer or an engineer of some sort, then don't even look at that stuff. Just talk to the AI, have it iterate and write code for you, and then just look at the preview.
And when you're wondering why it's broken, it's because you're not a developer and you don't know how to fix it and call a developer friend. And that's okay too.
Yeah, call Madewell. That's what we do.
A little plug there.
Yeah, shameless. So this is what's cool about these new AI models. Or not even, it's not even really models. This is more of a user experience thing. They're making these coding platforms where you catch the bugs before you can notice that there's a bug on the error, that it was fixing the error with platforms at actually creating things and building things. But for you, as if you're non-technical and you just want to like throw an app together, if you're just trying to throw some kind of RSVP thing, or you want to just build a miniature app for whatever it is that you want to build it for, you could use tools like this to just kind of come up with a mock-up. So if you're trying to hire a developer, use tools like this to kind of show them what you're trying to build. But this is the first glance of what it built. So to one shot this, or zero shot as it said, it's got all of this in here. Now there's little things I would change about the user interface, like it's got dark mode, light mode mixed here. That's an error. If I said Alex paid $45, right? So you've got dark mode background, light mode text. So this is already an error here. But if Alex paid $45 for dinner last night, you could click parse with AI. It seems like it's using some kind of AI in the background, and it actually parsed it out. So dinner, $45, food, Alex, 50-50 split, add the expense, and it added it in here. So the fact that it could build this really quick like that, quick is subjective. It still took a solid 3 minutes. So on a live stream, that feels like eternity. But in real life, this literally could have taken weeks or months back in the early days of software development. And so you can go over here to the history and kind of see these different things you can delete. So the functionality it's got a lot of functionality in here that's already communicating. Refresh, spending insights.
Wow.
So kind of cool, the fact that you can throw this together this fast is pretty cool. Now, if you wanted to test this out with a video game, I can test that one out. Josh, do you have something to?
Yeah, I just made one too. Yeah. Let me
pull up screen.
Let's see what happens. Oop. I keep putting it right there, so I'm like looking around as you guys see them. There you go. All right, entire screen. Let's give you screen 3. So this is what I built. I asked it to create like a creator dashboard for interviewing guests. And I wanted to specifically see an ROI calculator on their reach. So like guest cost, estimated reach for views, and give me kind of like an idea of the CPM that we'd get from them, the remaining budget, the average script quality. It's like, oh, this is a 7.8 based off of whatever metrics you have in the future, to be able to like make this kind of stuff for you. And I do like this. It gives you like, what is this, projected value score? That's kind of fun. And so you can start to track like, all right, well, I know that if my script is this good and the guest is this good, then it's a value of this much. And I asked it to like kind of come up with some ideas around that. And so the pre-one, I asked it to like explain some of those ideas, iterate it in, and this is basically what I was imagining. Guest value metrics, etc. Sarah David, this is dope. Like being able to say to a team, I need to have this idea put together and start somewhere like here, then go to someone like a Madewell or to a private developer and just have that pulled together is pretty sick. There's the company I work for does these entrepreneurship labs and hackathon funded projects where they'll do a hackathon for college students and high schoolers, and then they'll fund the best idea. So they all need to come up with an app. And some of them have been kind of lame, transparently. But the idea is like, if you could come up with a business as a teenager from your home, seeing things like this feel closer to that, right? Like I need to come up with 10 ideas, put it out there, screenshot it, see how it works. This is pretty cool. I like this a lot.
Nice. Yeah.
I can even
I'm
log
working on
out.
one. It'll probably take a little bit longer, but this one, if I share my screen here.
So like if, I don't know, Ben's going rate, if you guys ever want him, is about $75 a day. And his reach is about 300,000 people. And the script quality, we're going to call it a 4.5.
We do build software, but not for $75 a day. Okay,
so
I'm testing out what they did. I took this little screenshot here and to create an interactive digital game based on this board game screenshot. It was like a bogus screenshot, right? And so I took this little screenshot here. It's nothing. It's not even a board game, right? And so what I said is you make up the rules and create a board game based off of this screenshot. And so I'm actually pretty curious to see what it does, but it's coming through. If you look at the thinking, you can actually see the way that it's processing this. I'm zeroing in on the game's architecture. Developing the rule set. It's finalizing the gameplay loop, choosing the board structure, detailing the visuals, structure the logic. I actually told it to put in a little section for the rules because I don't know the rules. I've selected Gemini 2.5 Flash model for optimal performance. Oh, the integration with Gemini API is now real. I didn't ask it to do that, but it's trying to make it AI friendly.
That's dope. I think, like, I imagine taking something like, do you remember Pop Tropica?
Oh, nice. Check this out. No, I don't remember that.
I'll pull you up in a second. This is dope.
Okay.
Show me this.
How to play. Be the first to reach the end tile. Roll the dice to move forward. Warning tiles. Yellow are dangerous. They send you back 3 spaces. Lucky tiles, white, give you boosts of 2 spaces. You are racing against the forest spirit. Good luck. All right, got it. So,
okay.
I guess I need to, it's my turn. So I roll the dice and then it rolled for me. Then I roll the dice again. And it's telling me what's happening here. I think this is a stupid game, but the fact that it made this.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I know,
I'm trying to like.
It's awesome. Like, this is dumb. I mean, I wouldn't want to play this.
This is gambling,
like,
I guess. This is dice roll. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just rolling dice and it's randomizing some math to figure out a number between 1 and 6 and then moving you forward.
And it probably went for the
simplest
option.
Yeah, probably. But the fact that, like, I mean, check it out, like the user interface style. I can click on rules to review the rules again. You've got these different tiles and you've got some danger spots that you don't want to land on. And you've got it kind of explaining everything in here. The fact that it literally works off of the very first prompt and I could iterate from here is it's insane. Like, we have not seen a lot of models that have been able to do this well off of a one shot or a first shot. So we're definitely getting better.
I think it'd be really cool to see people do like a large contextual set of research, put it into something, see if it could organize it, and then make a game based off of that. So if I pulled up a screenshot of it, I bet you'd remember it. Poptropica. Maybe an easier one would be Club Penguin. We'll just say Club Penguin, because we both had some exposure to that, I'm assuming. Club Penguin, RuneScape.
Club Penguin. Oh, I do remember Club Penguin.
Okay, Club
Holy
Penguin's
smokes.
right?
That's old.
Little blast from the past. But like a lot of people are upset that it's down. People have made different coded versions of it, but like Club Penguin influenced games, like making up a Club Penguin 2, is like ask a certain model to read every Reddit post on what people love and hate about Club Penguin, organize that data, find the core features of the game, and then make me a board game that you could make and then do a coded version. And then I want you to give me the UX, UI, and packaging design of all of that so I can make a printed version. Like a little extra pieces of layers for like, and then add trivia into it based off of this and make some of the trivia comments that people said on Reddit. Like those layers are getting close enough to where you can plug that in and just generate like a proof of concept on Gemini. And that sounds pretty sick.
No, it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, the fact that you can use it for all of this stuff, I think people are missing out on the possibilities of AI because it's not just, you're not just trying to one-shot a board game digitally. These are examples of how you can use it in everyday life. But like, if you're a business owner and you're creating products, you know, physical products of any kind, being able to take, you know, Nano Banana, the image model, and create mock-ups of it, and then use Nano Banana mock-ups from what you created of your physical product with Gemini 3.0 coding platform, and literally create some kind of interactive something for your website to be able to show, like, just the possibilities become super endless when you start to use it for your business. Everybody's business is going to be different, but you can create these interactive things on your website with models like Gemini 3 and Nano Banana. And I'm excited to see what Nano Banana 2 looks like, but even Nano Banana 1 right now is awesome.
Yeah, and I didn't show a good example of that using Nano Banana of like mockups and then iterations for specifically like products and pieces like that, because it's really easy. Like you can ask for this product, make it, put it together. I need another image of this graphic printed on that shirt. Can you show me that shirt rotated slightly? Like that wouldn't be actually that hard to do for anybody. And we're getting to a place where that's really easy to do. And again, you can still iterate on top of it. Like my wife is doing more, Ellie's doing more design for a coffee shop. And she's starting to get like a couple of different reference designs, finding different reference designs, throwing them into Nano, asking for it to remove sections, asking for that graphic, writing a couple of different like drawn versions of that, and then starting to add that back into Nano to then show it on the mug without knowing Photoshop as well. So like the reiteration process is starting to get a lot easier for people to take. I think I don't think it's going to be the death of physical mediums. I think it's going to integrate really well. Like a picture of a drawn piece. Give me that thing without me having to read. Is it worth changing the colors on this? Can you show me my painting with these colors instead? Can you make it feel like this reference? Okay, then I'm going to go physically do something like that. So I feel like the more ways that you become comfortable trying to iterate with it, you start to see how much it is a co-pilot. Like it isn't a replacer. It's an excellent co-pilot. At some point, you should do a whole video on Firefly, because their big seminar was really cool. Their latest release was, I actually think, one of the most exciting AI releases I've seen was some of their UI, how they're integrating it.
Yeah. No, Firefly from Adobe.
Yeah, like they just did their big like AI launch. Did you see that?
No. Do you use Firefly? Because Firefly is like, it's there specifically for image gen.
Yes. So I use Firefly almost the most because it uses a really good integration for all of the other APIs. So like Nano Banana and everything else, even chats models, but also it has some new Canvas and Photoshop online features. Like their newest release they were talking about was like, you can train their image model on your art and then be able to generate things more easily based off of that. They added like a Photoshop canvas feature. So you could give it like 6 different reference board with arrows and say, take context from this, plug it into this, plug it into this. Like their newer stuff is a lot more like full featured. It'd probably be a whole different video of research, but like Firefly, I think is like the best UI integration for AI tools right now.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan. I usually use Leonardo for image gen, which they've got Nano Banana in there as well. I think that when it comes to these different image gen tools like Leonardo, Firefly. There's a couple of the other ones out there. And actually, we're going to do a whole video on 11 Labs just released an image gen model yesterday, or an image gen platform. So 11 Labs was like the strongest voice AI model out there, company out there focusing on voice AI. So literally being able to create voices with AI. But just recently, they started kind of creating a whole platform where you can have a studio and you can create music, and create voices, create sound effects. And then just yesterday, they released the entire platform allowing images and videos. So now you can create images to create your videos, then create your sound effects and your voices for those videos all in 11 Labs. So that's going to be a pretty cool one too. I haven't tested it out yet, but I'm excited to see what it looks like. But I'm sure they have Nano Banana in 11 Labs. They have Nano Banana in Leonardo AI. They have Nano Banana in Firefly. And so what matters for most people is how easy is it to use. If you're not, a Photoshop user or something like that, then Leonardo is probably going to be easier for you. If you are Photoshop, if you do use Photoshop a lot, then Fireflies and Photoshop and Adobe are going to be great. And they have, I think in Photoshop, you actually have to have the beta plan, right? To use Nano Banana?
No, it's in the normal integrated plan now, but like even I will say, I think a lot of people are scared of Firefly because it's Photoshop. So it feels like you're going to get into the Adobe suite, which love it or hate it, it's there.
Yeah.
But
you want to pull it up on your screen and just kind of show?
Yeah. Let me give you a little quick look, Sereno. Because I think they'll work really well together, like this new UX UI concepting with what Firefly does. All right, here we go. So this is the Adobe Home for everything they have now. And so it's like create videos, create high quality images, start mood boards, find the perfect font that brings your design together, etc. So like really well laid out. And then you can just open up Photoshop online now, which I think was a huge addition. You can do it on your iPad, whatever. You can just really quickly get a project together. But I have found that mood boards, I'm pretty sure it's Firefly boards, has been my favorite. Let me see, try now. And if I just throw like any image in there, I'll throw an image of you. Let me see if I can stop looking at me. If I throw an image of me in there, I'm pretty sure I can do that. Copy. Will it let me? Yeah, here we go. And then I throw an image of, what's something that's not going to get you in trouble? While jumping off buildings. And I throw that into the mood board as well. I'm pretty sure I can generate with these images in mind and this image in mind, use, convert, edit. Let me see. Pretty sure I can use this as a reference as well. Combine these two images into a new character jumping off a bridge. Because I like a lot of these like really, really easy to use platforms like Leonardo, but I still think that the tactile style of using some of these things like Photoshop gets you closer to your intention. So one or more of these violates our user. So I can't do jumping off a bridge. So jumping is appropriate. And then you can do different shapes, etc. You can do text to kind of just do some contextual edits. We'll let that kind of generate something. But then it has other things like your video creation, your vector stuff. I haven't done these two, but I feel like I need to get into them more. And then people have been telling me they really like the B-roll creation feature to like start to like come up with an idea and then use it for a quick shot of like a graphic or a motion graphic. We're like this close to reliable motion graphics. So if you have some kind of idea, here we go. That's me jumping in the air with my name saying Joshua Va. So it doesn't always do perfectly, and then you have to do some iterations, but it lets you use multiple plug pieces. And again, you can take this, copy it, or you could say open in Photoshop, and it'll open it in Photoshop, and you can do your edits online. So some different tools like that have been really nice for me.
Well, I think iteration is the big thing that people don't even realize when you're doing anything. Yes. You're writing with AI, you're creating images with AI, you're creating video with AI, you're creating websites with AI. Whatever it is, don't give up just because the first thing doesn't look like what you want it to. You need to get good at the iteration process, because iteration is where you actually get what you want. So it's when people think that AI is going to replace people, they're missing the fact that iteration is how you actually create really, really strong content or whatever it is, whether it's written content or images, videos, or websites. AI still needs you as a human being to implement your taste into what you're actually building. And so you still have a place in the process, and you need to play that role, right? You need to take responsibility that you need to iterate.
And it can get to something that's less psychotic looking with 3 legs to something better. And I think that this is like writing is a good example of that, but there is an assumption within any medium, art, business, finance would be a funny one because it feels like it needs to be precise, but every single one of those mediums are iterative. And they're also not inspired necessarily, or I should say, they're not from creative people. They're from people who are familiar by practicing and iterating and becoming more familiar with those tools. Like I'll throw something together quickly because I've done that enough times. And this is the goal of a lot of these tools, is to make it easier for you to do this 50 times so that you can more easily come up with good ideas. So on the early end, put out some crappy stuff that's ever so slightly not chaotic, don't have 7 legs in it, but put it out and then get better at removing the things that you don't want to see in your images to communicate the ideas that you want to.
Yeah. All right, here's what I want to do. I want to go back from build, go to the playground, share my screen here. I want to test out the writing ability in Gemini 3. All right, so if I come in here and select the Gemini 3, ready to chat, write me a LinkedIn post about the latest release of Gemini 3.0. So Gemini is a thinking model. Usually there's 3.0, so it's going to do a lot of thinking.
Yeah. Context is an interesting thought process with this new one, is being able to, because you're asking it to write like a blog post or a video script.
Well, right now, this is just a LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say this is amazing. Google just dropped, and it's not just another chat update. The wait is over. We've all been comfortable with conversational polish. Gemini 3 seems to be prioritizing raw reasoning horsepower and agentic action over simple chat. It's okay.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't copy paste this.
No.
We've still got a bunch of M dashes, which people use M dashes. I don't hate them, but they're usually a dead giveaway for AI models.
Interesting.
Now,
I gotta stop letting I've started adding them into my texts because it looks like the cleaner version of what an AI writes, and now I'm wondering if people are thinking I'm like a robot. I'm gonna get flagged at this point on my phone.
Yeah, at this point, I don't even care. Because now GPT 5.1 came out and it follows instructions better, and so you can kind of remove the M dashes from your writing. And so now, if you don't have M dashes, people are going to think that you're AI. So I just think it's a silly argument, but M dashes are useful. It's been a normal part of writing for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. All right, time to fact check that. How long have M dashes been around?
Oh my God.
15th century. You're lucky.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank God. All right, so YouTube video script, right? So Google Gemini 3.1 is here, or 3.0 is here, and it changes everything. Visual, host stands in modern studio, blah, blah, blah. The hook, stop what you're doing. The rumors are true. Google just officially dropped Gemini 3.0. And so you can rate this, Josh, because this is what you do all day, every day. Is write YouTube scripts.
Rumors are true. It's pretty good. I think it's a little bit, one of the biggest issues with Gemini is it writes a literal hook, and it assumes that that's a good hook. And that's a lot of early writers' mistakes. And I think it's starting to become they're picking up on the mass amount of those being used. It's you need something specific to be used throughout it, but you can give that instruction. You can say, don't give me a hook that's right now, this is a big deal, but ask for some specific thing. Gemini is going to take you from testing out your code ideas with blah, 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 and putting them in front of your people, something specific that we saw. And then you give it that context, write me a couple of versions that say that, and don't do a cliche hook, do a specific information hook, like some kind of promise. But again, that's not the robot's fault. It's using the broadest set of information because you're not being specific with it. But you can give it that, and it's going to give you that back.
Okay, let's try that. Let's fix the hook. This is iteration again. Blah, 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 blah. Now, it is good to see that it actually did some research.
Yeah,
so while
I like the sources being listed.
You know.
I think one of the things I would like out of something like this is like, hey, give me timestamp or section notes for a lot of these resources, as well as like pages with graphics, visuals, YouTube videos I could reference, stuff like that. Because that kind of stuff could save hours for the content.
Yeah, okay. So option 1, the labor model, shifting from AI as an assistant to an AI as an employee. Host, Gemini 3.0 is this the hook? Gemini 3.0 is an update to your favorite chatbot. It's a fundamental shift in your business's labor model. For the last 2 years, we've used AI to help us write emails, but with the release of Gemini 3, its new agentic capabilities, Google has moved past assistance and straight into execution. If your business relies on repetitive digital workflows, data entry, basic coding, or customer routing, Gemini 3 is going to change how you hire for those roles. It can now plan, execute, and verify tasks autonomously, which I am curious to actually read more about the agentic methods.
Yeah. And again, like there's some work that needs to be done for it. If you run a software company or manage product time, Gemini is going to change your time to market metrics forever. That's a fun hook. Like that's a clear hook. I will say again, it's doing this like, I think the creative testing in the space like doesn't like this, like it's going to change this for you we've released the best AI model to date. That's what that kind of like feels like in AI or
I mean, I get annoyed with YouTube videos or writing or social media posts of any kind that basically say this is the best. Or, you know, the one that really gets under my skin is when they say X just killed Y. You know, like those just, they drive me nuts because it's never true, right? You know, like
overpromise
like
kind of thing.
Most people don't know what Supabase is, but Supabase is a database platform. But when Lovable came out with their own databases for their websites, when they were building websites, everybody was saying Lovable just killed Supabase. And it was the dumbest thing in the world because Lovable just integrated Supabase under the hood for their database. And so people are saying Lovable just killed Supabase, but Supabase is the database for Lovable. It was dumb. So, you know, stuff like that, just anything clickbaity like that just drives me nuts. So when you're using Gemini to write or ChatGPT to write or whatever, really push back on these cliche hooks. That's why I usually don't read for my YouTube videos. I'm still trying to figure out how I handle my own hooks, but I don't like to just read off a script for a hook because usually they come across very clickbaity, and I don't want that. I want it to be very informational. Like
and I think you can do this script outline, but then have a conversation with it. And that's part of the reason why I like chat right now. And I wonder if Gemini has the ability to have like a voice conversation like chat does. Because like sometimes it's nice to talk to it and have a conversation about the goal and ask for references of how other people have done that. And by the end of that conversation, you'll have a better idea of what you even want to do to hook. It's like, well, that's not necessarily true. So how do we illustrate this idea? And I think for the voice conversations, because it's trying to have a conversation with you, it gets the best version of your voice to then implement into a script. And I'll do that a lot now. Like I'll do ChatGPT for voice chat, talk about what I want to talk about in a video, and then ask them to feed it back to me.
All right, let's just scroll through X and see what other people are saying about it, which is funny. We're live on X right now, so you can see. Okay, so people are showing the benchmarks, right? These benchmarks are always crazy, right? You know, you've got like all these different models, and you have the, I think this is score versus cost per task. And then you basically have Gemini 3 Pro and then Deep Think Preview way up here, right? So like your actual scores, whereas most of the scores have been way down here. And so they crack me up because they're like, is it really that much better? You know, we'll have to see when we actually see people start to integrate it. Starting today, you'll be able to select Gemini 3 Pro as an experimental model in Figma Make. Figma Make is pretty cool for anybody doing UX UI. Now, interesting because Figma Make, so Figma Make is actually using they use code to create components for your UI. So, which is useful when you're designing something in Make designing something in Figma. Instead of just using an image, right? You're not just trying to create an image or an SVG or something. You're actually creating the code of an icon or something, some type of component inside of Figma, so that when you're designing it, it can be converted to code easily. Then you've got more benchmarks here, right? So you've got all of these. GPT 5.1 came out last week. It was up on the top. But then these, you've got these incremental increases and then such a big spike. We'll see if that actually is accurate, like if it feels like it's that big of a spike.
That's cool.
Gemini 3.0
I still think
is an absolute beast.
These designers, this kind of stuff for designers are going to be huge because you have references. You can ask Gemini to like examine a design and put it into something that Figma can read, and then have it design your design into something that's more UX friendly. Figma's dope. That's actually a really exciting one.
I'm a huge fan of Figma. Yeah, I mean, I saw the Figma founder speak at the Supabase conference a few weeks back in San Francisco. They're doing cool stuff over there, and they really are just design first, design focused, and they create great product. So I'm a huge fan of Figma.
Yeah, no negative
Gemini
comments
3.0
yet. I see. Ooh, show probable spam. Let me see this.
Look at this though.
Yeah, I'm watching here. Leaked examples. Oh, that's so cool.
Design a professional website with a single prompt. Okay, this is what's cool though, is when it starts doing more of these 3D interactions with things. Push creative limits with generated web designs. I will say the UI design right now is looking pretty.
It looks pretty dope.
Pretty sick.
Yeah, the voxel stuff's fascinating. I think there'll be an interesting market that pops up out of this. It won't. Did they make an an operating system?
Holy smokes, that was loud.
That was wild. But did they make an entire fake UI operating system with MS Paint?
I don't know.
That's wild.
And a web page. All right, let me do this here. So I'm gonna try and see if it can create a website for me. Here's LinkedIn and write a modern website based on the info you find. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna have it build me a website. Dark theme website for Ben Valentine, extremely modern reviews, LinkedIn. So hopefully it'll actually go in and read my LinkedIn page and take all of that information and create an actual website here. So it's going to be thinking for a little bit. I just want to see if it's actually able to pull my information from my LinkedIn.
There we go.
I'll leverage the Gemini API to parse either LinkedIn data or resume text.
That is wild.
Oh, it found my portfolio website. Probably from my LinkedIn. I need to update that.
People are making Amazon Android games on it already that are actually pretty great. Oh man, a renaissance of mobile games is both terrifying and wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep. Figma's amazing. Mirror's Edge clone. I mean, this is better than anything I've seen. Because we had the ChatGPT coding system, and people have been making video games in chat and doing YouTube videos about it. But I wonder if this is going to push people. Is it more competitive than the ChatGPT coding system right now?
Well, so when you say ChatGPT coding system, are you saying just being able to make little websites in the canvas on ChatGPT?
Yeah, people would basically code full games in it though. Both to plug into other systems, but also they would make chess in ChatGPT that you could use on the canvas. Yeah.
Yeah. So the canvas for actually using it to create anything code wise, people that are really doing any type of real development, they're not using ChatGPT canvas.
Yeah.
People are either using tools like Lovable, Bolt, those vibe coding platforms, or they're using real tools like Cursor. But like this tool in Gemini, Gemini Build in the AI Studio, this is kind of an example of the canvas, but it's better. Like ChatGPT's canvas is very limited. Claude's canvas and artifacts are very limited, but Gemini's AI Studio, it can do a lot, you know, and you being able to like visually see it here. I just think it's better. So this is what it came up with. Let me see if I can full screen this. This is freaking sick. I'm not gonna lie.
This is sick. This is better than your website.
Wow. Okay. That's hilarious.
I'm just kidding.
That's funny. No, this is great. Okay. Hello world. Yeah. I am Ben Valentine, senior software engineer and UX architect. Not really, but okay, look at the gradient. Okay, the fact that we've got this like very subtle blue gradients.
It's motion. Right, you see how like they're flickering? Bottom. That's change of video.
It is flickering. Yeah.
That's a video.
Very subtly. Yeah, well, it's not a video. This is, you have flicker animations in code. Yeah. But then you've got, you know, some little icons. Some of the stuff is easy, but the use of it, instead of it just being black, this is extremely, so you can like toggle between experience. Okay, it didn't, looks like it didn't actually.
Like didn't like that at all.
Preview, refresh. Okay, let me full screen that again. So these links aren't usable, it looks like, but it did pull. Yeah. It did pull my LinkedIn URL properly. Did not pull my GitHub URL properly, but you know, it dropped all of this in with great animations, some little badges. Yeah, I will say that this is one of the better user interface designs that I've seen. You know, this little gradient on the bottom. This is very, very, very clean. Like I'm really happy with this. And then you've got some little animation stuff in here. I don't know what, it's not accurate, you know. I did, you know, Next.js, TypeScript. It's mostly what I use, but I don't know why.
Get you started.
Like it just made up these little projects in here. But like you know, this gradient's a little closer to like the Claude Anthropic purple gradients, but it's still very clean. It's much better. So Claude, the user interface style, you can almost always tell when something was generated with AI, the user interface. And these icons are still a little closer to that style. But the fact that the background, everything is aligned perfectly, you know, it's working. You've got this mail to, it's just a mail to button, ready to collaborate. Oh, you've got a little chat with Ben. Hey.
That's cool. Hey there, thanks for reaching out.
What's your name?
Nice.
What's 2 + 2?
That's a fun one. It really just said, what? Nah. I like that.
I don't know if these are actually AI. It might be AI. It might have actually integrated AI. I would have to look at the code. But, you know, mobile, fully mobile responsive in here. Looks great on mobile. Rotate, tablet. Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
That's sick.
So let's just say that that there's a lot of improvements I'm seeing already in, you know, Gemini's ability. So I'll probably do a full breakdown video, a little more polished, talking about Gemini. Yep. But I think this is good. Like just the fact that we're coming this far with its ability to actually generate the user interface that clean, that modern, then you know, I'm pretty optimistic. And the fact that it's some of the examples I'm seeing we haven't tested yet, but I'm excited to see, you know, what people are actually going to use it for. And so
yes, like we're going to see a lot more testing happening.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, well, brother, I appreciate you jumping in here, man. When Nano Banana comes out, we'll probably do a better Nano Banana 2. I mean, probably do another video just for Nano Banana 2, because I think that people are going to really appreciate that one, and you use it more often than most people I see. And we'll just kind of dive into that one as well. But appreciate you jumping in here, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you hosting this, man. Whenever it does come out, we should do like more of a challenge where it's like write 50 tickets for content, make Nano Banana generate all of them and find references and see how quickly it can do it all.
Yeah, 100%, man. Well, brother, I appreciate it, man. You have a good rest of your day, all right?
You too, man. See ya.